Hello and welcome to another edition of the AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're here.
We're thrilled to have you here today. Today, we're going to be talking about creating leverage in your business with content. This may be an eye-opener to you if you have been working hard at creating things for people to see, to learn more about your business and to educate the people who are in it. So today, we're going to be going through some ideas to kind of jog your mind and get you thinking about ways that you could be repurposing your content. And then we're going to talk very specifically about ways that you can plug content into our system. Now, given that on the AttractWell platform, you could be any number of different type of business, we don't have a huge amount of contextual specificity built into the slides and what we're walking through here today. So I want to invite you, if you're here live with us, to please ask questions, be thinking about the types of content that you use or that you want to be sharing, if you would like to see how that might plug in your specific context and perspective for your business. So I want to make sure you know that that is a door that's open to you here today. Welcome to all of you. See some new names here today. I haven't seen the call before. Excited to see you. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to head over to some slides. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping, go through some education here, and then we'll come back together and, of course, work on some Q&A together. And if anybody would like to have, some live eyes on the work that they're doing, that's something that we definitely have the opportunity to do on this call today as well. So we're going to go ahead and turn our videos off for the recording's sake. It looks so much nicer when we do that. On our YouTube channel, by the way, youtube.com/AttractWell, and you can join us and see all of our replays there. All right, so welcome again. This is AttractWell Office Hours. We do this every week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time US, and today we're talking about how to leverage and repurpose your content to grow your business. So what we're going to do first is talk about how to share and repurpose content using AttractWell, and then we'll get into our live help and Q&A. So first, before we get started, let us know about your business. Leave a comment. What kind of business do you have? What kind of clients do you serve? We do serve a broad range of businesses in this community. We're always excited to know what makes yours different. And if you came here today with specific questions, if you're working on your AttractWell site or system and maybe you're stuck somewhere, or you want to know how to use a feature, and reading through the help information in the help center isn't quite enough, we're here for you on this call today. Make sure you add your questions to the Q&A so that we can make sure we get to them. And if you want to work together live on a future call like this one, we do dedicate space to anyone who would like to work with us live on a call to step-by-step walk things through things together, kind of hand-holding situation. If that's something that you feel like you would benefit from, or if you want a critical view of what you're doing so that you can make it better, you're welcome to go to attractwell.com/work review and sign up for a slot. It's totally free. And we do it every week, and you're not limited to one. And of course, if you want to join us for watching the replay here and you want to join us on a live call, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours to get all of the notifications that we send out once a week to let you know that A, we're having a call and here's the topic. B, here is the replay and any of the resources that we share on these calls. And quite often we do share resources that you can plug and play in your business. All right, now let's get to some questions here. What kind of content do you use to grow and sustain your business? What kind of content do you use? So content, and this for anyone who is maybe not clear on what I mean by content, content is really anything that you would use or share specifically to get leads, to promote your business, to assist in onboarding, client success type stuff, any information in any number of different forms we're going to go over today that you share to get new clients, to serve your clients, or to move your clients up your profit ladder in your business. What does that look like for you? And then the next question is, do you create your own? If you have content, and most of us do, right? I can't think of a single, even if you're just getting started, there's some kind of content that you have, even if it's something that's just pre-written that you might have in an email somewhere. Are you creating your own content or do you purchase content? I know that for coaches, actually for a lot of different types of businesses, it's quite common to actually purchase content for different business purposes, whether it be for lead generation or for serving your clients. It could be if you were certified as a particular type of practitioner or coach, that maybe you have content that was created by your certifying body that you can use in your business. Purchasing content also extends to hiring others to do it for you. What does that look like for you? All right, so let's talk about content categories so we can get a clearer picture of exactly what content is so that we can then talk about ways we can repurpose it to get more out of it in our business. At the end of the day, this is something that can take up a great deal of time when some of our most profitable time is truly spent in the active business building and business sustaining categories, such as, having conversations that close, or if you have more of an automated sales funnel, then getting booked to speak or hosting webinars and things like this, as opposed to writing blog posts. Now, writing blog posts, because you do want to get traffic to your offers, having content as blog post is content is definitely something that is worthwhile for you, big picture, but it is more of a passive thing that works for you over time, right? So anyway. All right, so let's talk about categories of content. So first, we've got lead-facing content, and then we've got our internal content. This is client servicing. So all of the types of content we're going to be talking about here in just a minute are going to fall into one of two categories here. External content being anything that you would use to get leads, to move leads through your funnel, and then to ultimately close leads into your business. And then internal content categories would be things like client servicing. So stuff that lives inside of your vaults or your courses, for instance. And then anything that you might use to upsell an existing client or customer onto a new offer. And then anything you would use to educate or maintain and of course, work on client success. Those are our two main categories. And then we've got the types of content. All right, so what this can look like for you, and if yours seems different, feel free, let us know in the chat. We want to talk with you about this because we do want to make sure that we're covering all bases here. So let's go over generally types of content. We've got blog posts, video, social graphics, social posts, presentations, PDFs, downloadable files, audio files, and let's go back through those. I didn't realize that was the end. All right, so do any of us use these currently? Maybe just let me see a quick show of hands for those of us who are here. Do you possess any of these things in any form that you may use in your business or practice? Excellent. So these things we're going to be talking about today, how we can turn them into more things, right? Because all these things, they take time. And like I mentioned, they aren't necessarily things that you can do today to move the needle in your business tomorrow, but they are things that can do a great deal of work for you if you leverage them correctly to passively bring business to you and provide growth for you long-term. All right. Now, maybe let us know in the chat as well. Are you already repurposing content? And what does that look like for you? Do you turn your blog posts into other things? Do you turn your social posts into other stuff? Is anybody here already repurposing content? Curious to know what that looks like for you. All right, so let's talk about these one by one, starting with blog content. Let's talk about how to repurpose that. So what we can do is, this is just a set of ideas, you guys. There's a lot more that you can do. But if you write a blog post, here's an idea. You can grab a section of that blog post and reuse that for your social post content. Maybe grab an interesting quote or fact from a blog post that you've written and create a post on Facebook. Maybe go to Instagram, create a nice graphic that has that quote on it, and then point to the link in bio. Or if you're on Facebook or on Pinterest, if you put this on Pinterest, you can link directly to the blog post that you reference. You could also use your blog content to create email campaigns or broadcasts. Email campaigns are an extraordinarily valuable thing for you to use internally, right? They're great for both purposes. But if you've got blog content that educates, every single one of us, no matter what kind of business you have, is going to benefit from having a more educated client base. But we can't go out and expect that every single person who works with us or who has signed up for something and is on our list or is connected to us somehow has read and reviewed every single thing we've done, right? So there is extraordinary benefit to taking the work that you've already invested into something like a blog post and break the ideas and facts and stuff like that that's in the blog and put that into drip campaigns. So you can use educational pieces from your blog to augment and support what you put into an onboarding campaign for new clients. You could also, again, break those ideas down and put into your sales campaigns additional content. So you aren't just pushing sales in the emails that you're sending out. You're also providing value by linking to things that are relevant to what you're talking about. And blog content is a great way to add value to basically anything that you do online. You could also create online class lessons with your blog content. Online class lessons aren't necessarily just for online courses that you sell. You can create a vault that is specifically for leads and lead them through a few things that are actually free on your website, but maybe they've never read that blog post. Repurpose that, turn that into an online class lesson. Maybe you can create a series, offer a 4-day series where you send out a series of emails, and then they can actually walk through one of these lessons per day for your leads. You can also turn your blog content into PDFs for lead magnets. Anytime you've created an article of any kind, and that's what a blog post is, you have got great fodder for a future PDF that you could use inside of an online course that you could give to a client for supplemental education, or of course that you could turn into a lead magnet so that people who don't know about this great stuff that you have to say and share can actually get onto your list because they found that thing compelling enough to sign up for it. So let's talk about repurposing video content. For those of you who, and perhaps this is a little dated of me, I know he's really big in NFTs right now, but before that, Gary Vaynerchuk was really, really like the king of spinning content and repurposing content. And so he actually teaches some great strategies. Definitely recommend you look up some of that stuff. You could also just look up Gary V-E-E, and you'll find him without having to spell his last name. All right, so repurposing video content. A couple of things you can do here. You can create GIFs to add on to your emails. This makes your emails more engaging. It makes people more interested in checking out your content. If you're syndicating your content out to your email list, for instance, it grabs attention in a way that a static image doesn't. And if it's from the actual video content that you've created, then people are going to be that much more curious about what they can go and click and see. If you're using Vimeo, Vimeo actually has a feature now where you can actually get a GIF straight from a Vimeo video that you've uploaded. I can't tell you exactly how to do it, but I know they've got some instructional stuff on their site. And GIFs, again, those are just those nice little animated images. They behave visually like videos, right? Like they kind of animate, but you can use them and embed them in things like emails, like images, which is pretty cool. All right. You can also use clips from your course videos for your YouTube and social media content. So let's just say, for instance, you have an online course and it teaches something really interesting. Take a compelling, 10-minute clip out of a 30-minute video and upload that to your YouTube and have a call to action in that video to come and buy the course, right? To actually go and check out this thing that you offer. You can also use clips from your course videos for lead magnets and funnels. So actually on a previous call today, I was talking about doing this very thing where perhaps you have a longer form piece of content that would typically live inside of a vault and be available to your clients. If you have a bunch of those, you can maybe select one and put it on the other side of a landing page, maybe provide a clip, put it on YouTube, put it on social, and let people get curious from that clip. Then go to a landing page, opt in to see the whole video. And then on that next page where they see the whole video, you offer them your course or your vault or what have you, where they can get access to all the videos like that you offer. Let's talk about repurposing social graphics. This is something that it's surprising to me how much time business owners spend on crafting social content when we don't have legacy content that can get us leads month over month, year over year, right? So social graphics are great, but I really want to encourage you to start looking at how you can, every time you create something on social, turn it into something that lives longer than things live on social, okay? So you can add your social graphics to your email campaigns and saved replies, of course, if they're topical to what you're talking about in those emails. You can also use graphics in your blog post content. So if you posted on social about a way to habit swap, let's just say we want to exchange one not so great habit for a better habit, and you've got an image that talks about that, write a blog post, take that social post, make it a little bit longer, turn it into a blog post, and use that same graphic content to add to your blog. You can also add your social graphics to your online classes where they're helpful. I know a lot of us in this community are also brand partners. You sell, network marketing products. In the case of, say, Young Living, for instance, you've got diffuser recipes. That is a social graphic, right? Typically. But if you have a bunch of them, that's going to look really nice inside of an online class where people can scroll through and find lots of different ones in the same place. You could also use your social graphics on your sales pages and landing pages and in your lead magnets, again, depending on the content of the social graphic. You should also, like I just mentioned, be repurposing your social posts. So reuse your copy for email campaigns or for saved replies. You can expand on your social post content to create blog posts, which I recommend you do every time you sit down and you write a social post that's more than 2 sentences long. Consider writing it out in a longer format and scheduling that to publish as a blog post. And then add your social post content to your online courses. Again, most of us, we're in helping professions. We're showing up and sharing tips and relevant stuff every day. If that same thing that you're sharing today that's supposed to be helpful to somebody who might see it today, but probably won't tomorrow, or in most cases, at any time in the future, put that inside of a vault for your clients to benefit from. Put that in, write that into an email nurture campaign, so that your clients or your future clients can benefit from it and see how much value you can offer them, right? We can never assume that everything that we do is visible to everyone, or especially that everyone was actually paying attention when we did it. You can also use your social post content to create videos. This is really, if you start, usually most of us logically, we go first to social because we're like, okay, I need to post today. And then we write our post. Now, what if we said, okay, I'm going to take that post idea, I'm going to turn on my camera and I am going to film myself speaking for 3 to 4 minutes about this thing that I'm posted about today. Take it a couple steps further, right? Now we've got a video that we can put to YouTube and to social. And if we just take that post and we write a couple more paragraphs, we could also put that onto the blog where the video can be embedded, and you can point that video in the description on YouTube back to your blog post. Then you email out your list and you have got a trifecta, right? You've got your social, you've got your blog, you've got your video, and you're hitting your content from all angles and getting maximum exposure. Let's talk about repurposing presentations. The majority of us do have presentations of some kind that we use to talk about who we are, what we do in our business or practice, what we sell in terms of our products, right? So these presentations, you may use them as talks. You may use them as presentations, like educational ones, what I'm doing right now, any number of different things. You could do webinars, but these presentations are a gold mine to spin into different types of content. So you can turn those into course content, right? Quite often you can take an entire one and make it a course, depending on just how much you have in it, or at the very least, the concepts that you teach inside of your presentations can be broken into individual lessons inside of an online course, whether video or written. You also have a multitude of opportunities to create individual PDFs that you can turn into freebies, into value adds for your course content as it exists. You could also use these You could also use these as, turn them into workbooks, all kinds of great things you can do with presentations where breaking them into PDFs is concerned. You could also take the individual topics of presentations, because typically we cover a bit more than just one topic. You can break the information for those individual topics down into blog post topics. So if you look at your presentation as an outline, your outline has a few key points. Each of those key points is a potential blog post topic, or each of those key points might host several blog post topics inside of them, right? We can break that down pretty small into lots of content opportunities. And then finally, if you aren't doing this already, film your presentations. Use Zoom in your AttractWell account, turn your presentation mode on, film your screen and yourself speaking like we're doing right now, and grab that video, upload it to YouTube or put it in your course. You can use this for lead generation or to serve your clients. All right, let's talk about repurposing our PDFs. You can use these as lead magnets, of course. You can link them up in your emails that you send out after people opt in. The campaign that they receive can send them this, or you can redirect directly to it. We'll show you how to do this actually here in just a few minutes. You could also add your PDFs to your online classes. There are download sections in AttractWell where you can add downloadable files such as PDFs. You can also link to your PDFs from basically anywhere in the system. Once you upload a PDF file to AttractWell, it can be opened via a link in blog, in email, text, in your online classes, from a page, anywhere you could link to anything. You could link to a PDF that you have hosted on your AttractWell account. And then you could also, if you have existing PDFs, right? So if this is something that you've received for another purpose, or if it's something that you've created for another purpose, you can turn that content into blog posts. So just like I talked about before, any blog post that you write is something that is quite likely something that we could turn into a PDF. It works the other way around as well. If you've got a really high value article that you're offering, or even something that's quite a bit larger, you might break a PDF down into multiple blog posts. Lots of opportunities there to expand on content. And then of course, in breaking this into even smaller bite-sized pieces, you can create social posts using the content that's inside of those PDFs. All right, now how many of us, maybe just a quick show of hands, how many of us use audio files or would like to? So think like guided meditations or audio only versions of our videos, right? These are incredible to use inside of courses. They're also really compelling lead magnets to offer, right? Especially if you're someone who actually works with people on transformation, if you do guided meditations and things like that, it's just a really, really neat thing to offer as a freebie. So you can repurpose those audio files to use as lead magnets. Like I mentioned, you can add them to your online classes along with or in lieu of video. And you could add these to your blog, to pages. And now we have a very easy, simple, straightforward way for you to embed those audio files as an MP3 player where they can literally click play on a screen on your AttractWell site. We're going to show you how to do that today. So I want to cover something here real quick for those of you whose head may be spinning. If you're like, well, I don't know how to make a PDF and I haven't written a blog post and oh my God, I should do video. Don't worry. You will eventually, one step at a time, master any of these things that you truly want to get good at for your business. And they are all worthy of giving a shot to help you grow if it's something that really feels like a good fit for you. But there are places you can go to get things that are already done. Now, you may find, depending on your type of business, if you are certified through a particular entity, or if you work with a direct sales company and there are people who make content for promotional purposes that you can purchase, in some cases, you already know what these things are. But generally speaking, there are actually some pretty great resources out there that you can use, or at the very least, get and then modify to your liking. So let's talk about that. So first things first, if you want to outsource your content, it is really important for you to know and understand that anything that you want, if you are a personal brand, anything that you want to be sharing, it really ought to be coming from your voice if it's meant for leads. Because if you're a personal brand, people are going to buy because it's you, right? And so if your voice, whether that be your actual voice on your video, or even more importantly, the written voice that is read in your emails, your blog posts, and so on, if those things don't sound like you, when your website visitor or your lead or your readers read it and take it in, it's not going to have the ultimate effect that you want it to have on your business, right? So you don't want to just have content for content's sake for lead generation. So if you are thinking about using content that's already made or hiring someone to make content for you, just want you to keep in mind this consideration that you ought to at least give it a read over and tweak it to sound like you would say it if you were reading it out loud. Just a quick tip there. If you're a personal brand. Now, if you're not a personal brand, so if you are, if you're a practice that has multiple practitioners, if it's more of like a team thing that you have and run as a business, you are a little safer in going more generic with your content. But I would still really recommend kind of keeping and curating a singular voice from which you communicate. You can buy generic PLR content. Guys, after the call today, I want to encourage you to Google this. PLR, it means private label rights. And there is so much of this out there on the web. So very much. You can go to a PLR website today and for really crazy cheap, search a keyword that you want to have content that covers. And you can find email sequences, you can find ebooks, you can find little PDFs and freebies you can use as lead magnets, lots of really, really great stuff. In a lot of cases, you have rights to use it as it is. They'll actually specify on those websites whether or not you can use it, in any one particular way. So definitely, if you feel stuck on content, consider maybe this is like a gateway for you, or as a baseline for you to go and modify beyond what you see. And then another thing that you could absolutely do is to hire someone from Fiverr or another freelance platform to create new content for you or to spin content from your existing work. So to have them, maybe you create YouTube videos, and this is actually a fairly common thing. You create YouTube videos and you can hire someone on Fiverr or one of these platforms to transcribe your video so that it can be easily created into a blog post, for instance, and to do all of those other things that we talked about today, right? Like chopping it up, making a GIF, and creating an image or taking a clip from it that could be used for another purpose, taking a 90-second clip of it that could be easily shared on Instagram, right? Or used in ads or something like that. So remember that there are folks who are really good at doing the things that you might not be great at yet, who are worth every penny to help you in repurposing the stuff that you're already doing. I will say that if you are a video content creator, this is going to be a lot easier for you because there are so many options, right? Because the video is already a great thing to have, but then you can chop it up into multiple different types of media, get that transcription, and it's a really good place to start just from experience, you guys, just heads up. All right, so now we're going to watch a walkthrough of how you can add an audio player to your site, take an MP3 file, a recording, add that to your AttractWell site so that it plays right there on the page. And we'll go ahead and show you while we're at it, how you will upload files generally. So if you wanted to have a PDF that you could link to and share as a lead magnet, for instance, or for other purposes on your website. And for that, I'm going to toss this over to Greg.
Sounds good. Let me share my screen out here. Okay. So what I have pulled up here is, this is the blog post writer, but generally speaking, this works anywhere that there is this editor. By the editor, I say, this little area that lets you, change fonts and make it bold and center and that kind of thing. So blogging, events under your pages, for example, I could come in here and do this under pages if I wanted to as well. Probably a little bit more common than a blog, but you could totally put audio files on the blog as well. So I'm just going to go over here because it's nice and simple. But to upload a file, I'll just start with the general case of like, how do you upload a file? Under here, there is this more rich menu. If you click on that, there's a couple of different icons here. There's one to upload a file, which means you can upload a file, really any file. I mean, PDF, MP3 for audio. Maybe you've got a Microsoft Word document or an Excel sheet or something like that that you want share. You can do that. You just have to click upload. Once you've uploaded it, it appears in your file manager. And that's here, this insert manage files button, that it'll appear there once you've done that. So like in this case, I have no files in this specific account when I click that. So let's fix that here and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to insert and manage file. Oops, I got to click upload files, click the wrong one. There's this little drop down here and I'm going to go over to my file manager and I'll just start with the PDF here. This is a slide deck that we used a few weeks ago talking about app notifications. So I've got a PDF in here now. What that does when you use that upload file, it automatically inserts a link to it here right in your document. And you can, at that point, it's just like a regular link. You can move it around. You can click edit, change the name of it, click here to read more, click here to learn more, whatever. I guess I picked something different, but so that's how you can get a link in there. And what happens then once people do that, or once people visit, in this case it'd be a blog post, but if you put this in your page builder, this will work too. They'll click on that and then it'll open up the PDF. And if they're on a mobile device, it'll open it up in a little PDF reader app. If they're on the computer, I think it usually opens it up in a new tab or in the same tab. You could specify that actually if you wanted it to be in a new tab. So that's generally how you do, say, like a PDF or just some other document. And as you can see, like I'll click here on insert and manage files, and that shows up in here now. So there's a document in there about that, or a link. So if I wanted to add it again, for example, I could just come in here and click it, and it'll show up. So if you have multiple files, you use them regularly and insert them around. That's a really easy shortcut to get in and out of there. As far as like adding the audio player, that's essentially upload the file. Let me go over here and I'll grab my file. I have a very tiny audio file, your turn.mp3. Say I want a player, but by default, the file uploader inserts a link, and that's is just a link to the audio file. This is great if you want someone to download it, to be able to download it. If you want it to be just an audio player embedded on your site, then what you probably want to do is I'll come over here and I'll just delete this because I don't want that link in there. And if I come under insert and manage files, now you can see that new file is added there. And so one of the differences is you see, as I hover over this, you can see that like this trash can appears. If I would want to ever delete that PDF, I could do that. But the system recognizes that you have an MP3 file here. Or this also works for the WAV files, .wav. If you click this little musical note icon, you see that that's different than over here. That's not appearing over there. If you click the little musical note icon, it inserts it into your document. You have a little audio player. And so if I would click play, I don't think it's just a little noise, little sound effect, but it'll, actually play it there. And you can, you can style it and move it around. You can resize it with the handles or let text wrap around it, or, let me go back to break text, or you can left and right align it if you want to. So there's some different things you can do with it here to make it so that it kind of, flows with your document. But yeah, this is new. This audio player insertion is a new thing as of yesterday, I believe. So it's a fun little addition, and we haven't announced anywhere else yet. But yeah, it's just a really easy way now to add this audio player in there. Melissa says, show how you move that to the right again. Yeah, this is a neat little trick, kind of unrelated, I guess, a little bonus. Let me undo what I did here and put it back to the way it was. So when you insert, and this is the same way for an image or a video, or in this case, the audio file. So I'm going to put a little space. Well, actually, I think this will be fine. So when you click on it, and again, it's the same as if you're inserting images as well. There's this icon that says display, and what this does, there's two options here. One says break text, and what that means, that's the default. What that means is whatever that you have selected is going to appear on the line by itself. So as you can see here, there's no text beside it, either to the left or to the right. If I go to inline, what that means is it's going to try to wrap the text around it. And I think that probably would only work if I have to like backspace up, and I think I accidentally deleted it. In this case, it doesn't look so good. But if you combine the display of inline with one of the alignment, either left or right, then you can kind of like save some space, and the text will wrap around whatever it is that you have over there. Like, even the audio player, you can shrink it down if you really wanted to. You don't have to have the default size. It does get bigger and smaller, so you can make it fit what you're looking for. But yeah, that's how you do it. Just a combination of display inline, and then you can either align left or align right to make it wrap around like that. So we'll go back to bright text. Cool.
Wow. Yeah, so I learned something new today. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know about the inline with, yeah, wow. That's a game changer. Very cool.
Yeah,
So
that
you don't
also works
necessarily
with
have to do
images.
like that's so exciting. I've been using like what do you call it? The tables. So you could just do it that way. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Right?
Yep.
So we
So
just
you
learned
can,
something new.
yeah, you can do some cool stuff with it. I think I still have the one set to display break, but I go inline, then I can put it right under there. So you can make some pretty cool layouts with
My
that.
gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, game changer. Who else didn't know that? Melissa didn't, and Melissa is a pro right here. Yes. Excellent. All right, so we have some questions. And forgive me, I want to pronounce your name correctly, and I don't know that I will, but Charday, I think. You ask, your landing pages are for advertising, whatever you're promoting and lead capture, correct? Yes, but also other stuff. So your landing pages are ideally, yeah, like it's a place for people to land, to put their information in, and to get whatever it is that you're offering. In some cases, you might want to use a landing page or a page with a lead form for your onboarding, for instance. So it's not necessarily a promotional thing. Sometimes it's a functional thing for your business. So it could also be if you are at a live event, maybe you have a type of business where you might have a vendor table at an expo or something like that. You could use landing pages to collect information to get onto a newsletter. But again, you could also use it if you have clients who work with you and you keep information inside of a vault, inside of your AttractWell system. You could use a landing page for new clients to add themselves to the vault, for instance. So it's not just a promotional thing, but it is absolutely used for that purpose as well. All right. I think you had some other questions in the chat as well. I'll try to scroll through, but actually, if you want to, like if you have questions, you want to just chat with us, and this is open to anybody, just raise your hand here and we're more than happy to bring you out and chat. Carrie, what's your thought on posting weekly email to a blog? So I would give some consideration to whether the email or the newsletter, whatever it is that you're sending, is an internal versus external thing. So if it is something that is that has terms and ideas and stuff that would be more applicable to people who are already in the know in your business, then you would use that just internally, sending it out to your people. But if there are concepts or things that are in it that could also be beneficial to your leads, then you might be able to repurpose that. In most cases, the answer is going to be yes, unless the thing you're starting with is purely promotional. So I know, for instance, you're a Young Living brand partner, you've got, PV promos, monthly PV promos. A blog post is really not the place for that. And but there may be some content that you get from it. Like if you purchase it from a content provider, where maybe they talk about what nutmeg essential oil does, and then you could write a blog post about nutmeg essential oils and how to use it in yoga or something. So it could be an inspiration point, like a jump off point, not a complete, this becomes that sort of thing. The way you create an evergreen event, that's a really good question. The way you create an evergreen event is to create a landing page and just have it be a thing that's always available. Although I think that is, can we do ongoing events, Greg? Like in the events manager, is that a thing yet?
No, so like the events manager does require a date on every event. You could, I suppose, put a very far distant future date in there, because the system will automatically take down past events once they're, the time has passed, so they don't clutter up the site. But yeah, landing page is a really good option for that as well, because then, or a custom page, doesn't have to be a landing page specifically, but it could be a custom page or a landing page, either both of them with lead capture on there. And then, yeah, if it's like, let's say it's every Tuesday you hold a call or something like that, you could say like, click here to join or fill out this form to join us on Tuesday. That sort of thing.
Oh, Dee says that she's done that with like making the event a year long. That's an interesting idea. So, I mean, the only reason you would want to put an evergreen event or try to put an evergreen event into, your events manager is like, for instance, like if you're a Get Oiling user and you want it to show up in your built-in themes. But, for all other purposes, you could be, widely promoting whatever that thing is, just on your website, and just have a landing page be where they can sign up for it. And actually, the homepage template, one of the one that we did on this channel, we did a walkthrough of a homepage template. That is the perfect template to use to promote an evergreen event like what you're talking about. So like a webinar, a masterclass, that kind of thing. That's a really good page to use for that purpose. And then you could just have that link placed prominently wherever you want to promote it. See, Sarah says, I made a landing page for my biweekly events. Excellent. I'm going to scroll backwards here through the chat and make sure we didn't miss anything from you guys. Thank you for being here today. And please feel free to continue with the questions or raise your hand if you'd like to come out and chat or look at something together in your system. Really curious to know if you guys are going to be putting any of the specific stuff to use this week to get a new idea that you're going to go out and put to use in your business. There we go. I knew I saw another question from you, Sade, about the vault. The purpose of the vault is for you to offer a private content experience. So this could be an online course. This could be a replacement for a Facebook group because it does have a social chat function. Your online class could actually have chat in it, embedded into it. A lot of different ways that you can use this. And if you go to attractwell.com/online course, all one word, we actually have a totally free course that you can opt into, walk through and see how our member area vaults and online classes work, and how you can lay out your content to create a great experience for your clients or your leads, however you want to use it in your business. And of course, open season here. Anytime we're live on this call, y'all are all more than welcome to, to ask these questions or to say, hey, here's what I'm working on, or I'm stuck on this concept or whatever. And we can just hop on together, chat about it, and work on it together while we're here. All right. Dee says, audio file, I have Clubhouse replays and want to use. Yes, that's such a great idea. All right, Sydney says, I'm using Get Oiling and I know there's similar platforms to AttractWell. Can I ask a question about the layout of my blog? Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a Get Oiling user, AttractWell is, basically a carbon copy minus Young Living. So yeah, feel free. We do promote these AttractWell calls to the Get Oiling community for sure. So this is definitely going to be applicable to you here. So fire away. Or would you like to maybe just raise your hand for me? Like, do you want to look over it together and talk? Then, let me know and we can do that. Because we are here for that as long as we're here. Yep, there we go. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going? Hey.
Good. So on my blog, I guess I should pull it up, and I think you guys can pull it up too. I noticed that there's quite a bit of white space between my excerpt ending and the section spacer, I guess. Yeah, that's my website. So right there between read more and then the space or the section spacer, there's all that white space. Is there any way to get rid of that? Or is there a way to reformat the layout of my blog posts so they can show up like in a different way, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now and it looks like it's not the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that you're using excerpts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you're not hitting enter after your excerpt, and that should shrink it down, right? So this is actually, I wouldn't go really any less space than this right here.
So no, I meant the space after the read one.
Oh, between the
posts.
Right there.
Yeah.
Got you. This is actually the first time that I'm seeing the divider here. Is that always there?
I think it is. It's been a while since I've looked at this page, but that looks like it would be something built in that wouldn't be in the excerpt probably.
Okay. Because I played around a little
See.
bit with spacing and I couldn't get it to.
Yeah, hers are like that too.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, yeah, this is Katinka did a training here on our channel a while back, and yeah, hers are basically like that too. So yeah, I don't know why I never noticed that divider before.
Okay. So that's like the standard look of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what about the background right here? Since it's all white, is that something I can customize to my branding colors or just the text right now?
Currently it's this.
Okay.
I mean, you could take a header, so like we've got the welcome to the blog header. I mean, you could make that edge to edge graphic essentially. And then, that would add a splash more color onto your page.
Yeah, if you make them a bit bigger, Katinka does that. Hers are quite big.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Can
you could definitely.
Okay, so she doesn't really have much of a title, just the blooming blog part.
That's right. Yeah, she just keeps that there. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And then I'll
change the color of that header because I tried it once and I couldn't figure out how to. No, the blog header.
Oh, this right here.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to change the background or I guess add an image to the back of it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, so this is your blog header, actually, I think. So let me see if we go over to your.
That's the case, probably where you'd have to create an image that has the text on it.
Okay.
Because there's no way to set a background image in that specific section. But you can also, you could use the Canva integration to drop in a graphic.
So I think that like if you wanted it to look like Katinka's, this is just text and hers is right here. Just if you go to your blog settings, that's it right there. She put blooming blog right here in this field. But beyond that, and this is where you've got yours personalized, that's what you have up in the center. And so you could put an image here, like Greg mentioned, if you wanted to.
So an image instead of the text, but have the text embedded in the image.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And the same, I recommend here the same resolution size that you would use for your like the covers of your vaults and your like your member area headers. Let me grab that real quick. I have a cheat sheet somewhere.
Okay. I don't have too much in my member area yet because I'm in the process of trying to get some course ideas up and running. So I'm not quite at that point yet, but I mean, I think I have something set up in there. I at one point played around with it, but I don't have anything currently active in it. So it's kind of a jumbled mess in there.
Got you. Okay, let me find this here we go. Blog header is, let me find this real quick. So I'll actually show you a couple of examples that I use as templates with clients, but I use 2240 by 560. And then I basically just, used Canva's own sort of template feature to pop things in. So you can actually, if you create something that is 2240 by 560, you'll see that there's all kinds of things that you can use. Just as a basis for inspiration. So yeah, from here you can actually go and, swap out your colors, add photos, put your name, your blog name or whatever there. But that's what I would recommend to put there. And it's actually the same as well that I recommend using as the header of a newsletter.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have this blog banner as a resource anywhere?
Yes. I can, I can totally, I'll put that in the description for this, for the replay here. So have a look out for that once we post the replay later today.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, sure thing. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, great. Thanks for coming out. All right. Thank you guys for being here today. Last call, if you would like to, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. If you would like to come out and chat, if you have any other questions before we get going, get started with spinning our content and creating creating new content to grow the business. We'll definitely look forward to having you guys back on future sessions where we can work on more great stuff. But yeah, that's it. I think we'll give just a couple seconds in case you're typing. But yeah, we're back here same time next week. Feel free, you guys, let us know if you have questions about anything that you'd like to learn more about. If there's something that you'd like to work on together live, you could always have your Zoom open and go split screen and have, well, provided you're not on a phone while you're doing this, but you know, have one side of your, you know, your laptop screen or your computer or tablet screen, you know, actually in your AttractWell account. We can walk through and do things together. Lots of great options here. So use this to your advantage. Let us know what you need from us. We're here to help. You can reach us at support@attractwell.com. And we look forward to seeing you back here same time, 2 o'clock Eastern next week on Office Hours. Y'all have a great week.
Yeah, everybody.